Okay, so hi, evening everybody. I'm Dr. Sushant Soni, MBBS MAMC, MD Pathology, Resident Hemato-Oncology, AIMS Delhi. So let us have a look. Let us have a look at the hematology quiz questions. Starting with the first question: which organ is the primary site of hematopoiesis in mid pregnancy? बच्चे mid pregnancy, the primary site of hematopoiesis is liver. Let us have a slight more detailed look at this. In the intrauterine life, in yolk sac is the main site till the third week of this whole slide. It is pretty important with respect to NEET MCQs. Yolk sac is the main site till third week. After that comes liver, which is the main organ till 20 to 24 weeks. That is liver. Next, so mid pregnancy, liver. After the fourth month, that is about 20 to 24 weeks. After that, the main site is bone marrow. Next, from birth till puberty, it is the bone marrow in the whole skeleton, and after puberty, it is only in the red marrow of the vertebra, ribs, sternum, pelvis, and epiphyseal region of humerus and femur. These are the sites of hematopoiesis. Next question. When does switch over from fetal to adult hemoglobin synthesis begins? This switch over, this is at 36 weeks of gestation. This graph was asked in this NEET exam also, that is January NEET 2020. Let us have a look at this. देखो बच्चे, first is the alpha hemoglobin, the alpha 2 gamma 2. Alpha 2 gamma 2, the question which came in the exam was, you were asked which is this line. This was the gamma line, this was the line of gamma. Alpha 2 gamma 2, it starts reducing peripartum, that is from fetal to adult hemoglobin. This is adult hemoglobin. Alpha 2 beta 2 switches peripartum, that is at 36 weeks. Firstly, second point, this also tells you that till about 4 weeks the initial main site is yolk sac, followed by liver. Have a look, liver is the main site till about 24 weeks. That was what we wrote also, and after that there is a minor period of spleen, and then bone marrow takes over. So an important slide, an important question, including this need. Next point. A 5-year-old girl came with increasing pallor since birth and hepatosplenomegaly. Which is the most relevant test? Most probably, the first thing that comes to my mind with respect to this child is that it is a hemoglobinopathy. This is the first thing I'll think of: hemoglobinopathy or thalassemia. And the screening test of choice, and the screening test of choice for thalassemia is hemoglobin electrophoresis. Screening test is hemoglobin electrophoresis. Next point, another question that is asked is, investigation of choice for hemoglobinopathies is HPLC, which stands for high performance liquid chromatography. HPLC, high performance liquid chromatography. Next point. The other test, that is osmotic fragility testing. This is used for HS, hereditary spherocytosis. Bone marrow examination, you will mainly think of that in leukemias. Next point, Bart's hydrops fetalis is lethal. Firstly, what is hemoglobin Bart's? Hemoglobin Bart's, it is seen in alpha thalassemia. There are two hemoglobins, HbH and hemoglobin Bart's. HbH, देखो बच्चे, we have two main hemoglobins in adults, alpha 2 beta 2, alpha 2 gamma 2. In alpha thalassemia, alpha chain production is reduced. So the body is not able to make alpha 2 beta 2. Alpha chain production is reduced. It leads to the formation of beta 4 and gamma 4. Beta 4 is called as HbH, gamma 4 is hemoglobin Bart's. B and B do not go together. So the question was, what is the problem in hemoglobin Bart's? The problem is, you know that gamma chains, the excessive gamma chains, they cannot release oxygen to fetal tissue, in turn leading to lethality. That is the main problem in gamma 4 or hemoglobin Bart's. Next point. Acha, before we go further, another question that is asked from this slide itself is HbH disease. What is the main genetics of alpha thalassemia? Genetically, alpha thalassemia is associated with deletions. Genetically, it is associated with deletions. So HBH forms because of deletion of 3 alpha chains. Deletion of 3 alpha chains lead to formation of HBH. Next question. Next question. A child died soon after birth. On examination, there is hepatosplenomegaly and edema all over. Most probable diagnosis. Most probably, bache, this is a case of hydrops fetalis. There is edema all over, hydrops fetalis, which is associated with deletion of all 4 alpha chains. Hydrops fetalis, that is associated with deletion of 4 alpha chains, associated with deletion of 4 alpha chains. Diagnosis, alpha thalassemia. Next point, this gets us to beta thalassemia occurs due to point mutations versus alpha thalassemia, which occurs because of deletions. Deletion of 3 alpha chains is called as HPH disease. Deletion of 4 alpha chains is hydrops fetalis. Next point, beta thalassemia occurred because of point mutations. There are 5 most common point mutations, which are IVS15. IVS stands for intervening sequence. IVS stands for intervening sequence. Intervening sequence 15. IVS 15. Others are 619 base pair deletion, IVS 11, frame shift mutation 89, and frame shift mutation 4142. Which are all the points we are doing in this PPT are the questions which are important from both AIIMS as well as NEET viewpoint. Firstly, most common point mutation of beta thalassemia, IVS15. This is the most common point mutation. And next, these 5 point mutations account for 98% cases of beta thalassemia. It accounts for 98% cases of beta thalassemia versus alpha thalassemia, which is associated with deletions, versus alpha thalassemia, which is associated with deletions. Next point, this gets us to the primary defect which leads to sickle cell. You very well know sickle cell anemia. It is a point mutation. It is a point mutation in 6th codon of beta chain. Point mutation in 6th codon of beta chain, in which glutamic acid is replaced by valine. So the answer was B, leading to the formation of HbS, leading to the formation of hemoglobin S. Next point regarding G6PD deficiency. Firstly, G6PD deficiency is an X-linked recessive disease. It is X-linked recessive. First point. Next point, it is associated with the formation of Haines bodies. It shows the presence of Haines bodies. What are Haines bodies? They are the precipitated globin chains, which when such RBCs, when they go to the spleen, they get bitten off, leading to bite cells. So G6PD deficiency, bite cells. Next point, enzyme levels are directly proportional to age of RBC. Nahi bache, it is indirectly proportional to age of the RBC. That is why in older RBCs the enzyme is less. RBCs don't have a nucleus. As they become old, enzymes have a half-life, so the enzyme reduces. So in G6PD deficiency, it is the old RBCs which undergo hemolysis. It is the old RBCs which undergo hemolysis. Next point, protects against Kala-Azar. No, it protects against malaria, that is Plasmodium falciparum. Next point, and this is how the microscopy of G6PD deficiency looks like. It shows the presence of characteristic bite cells. It shows bite cells. G6PD deficiency. Next point, true about iron deficiency anemia is very obvious. It is microcytic hypochromic anemia. It is the most common cause of MCHC. Next, total iron binding capacity increases. Next, serum ferritin reduces. And lastly, bone marrow iron is decreased first. It is the earliest to reduce. Next point, So before we go further, I'm showing you this slide for two things. First are the normal values. Normal value of serum iron is 50 to 150 micrograms. TIBC is 300 to 360. So you can be given a question in which the values are also mentioned, and the percentage saturation is 30 to 50%. This is normal. First thing. Second point, serum iron reduces, TIBC increases, percentage saturation and serum ferritin reduces in iron deficiency anemia. Out of these, which is the most sensitive indicator? Serum ferritin. Most sensitive indicator. Most sensitive indicator for iron deficiency anemia, serum ferritin. Differentiate iron deficiency anemia from anemia of chronic disease, in which again the serum iron is reduced. This is similar, but it has a reduced TIBC and normal to high serum ferritin. These are the 2 points to differentiate iron deficiency anemia from anemia of chronic disease. You can be asked a simple question on the basis of values in this. Next point. Now this was pretty easy. Earliest indicator after starting therapy is increased retic count, and retic count peaks at day 7 of therapy. After starting therapy, retic count increases and peaks at day 7 of therapy. Next point. Now have a look at this. A child with lethargy, irritability. Examination shows severe pallor. There is very low hemoglobin, low MCH, low MCHC. Osmotic fragility is normal. That is, hereditary spherocytosis is out. Next, there is expansion of erythroid marrow. Most likely diagnosis, iron deficiency anemia. Do not jump onto acute lymphoblastic leukemia or ALL. It should not be acute anemia. Acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Do not jump onto this because TLCs and stuff are not mentioned. Next point. True about ITP. ITP stands for immune thrombocytopenic purpura. Firstly, ITP stands for immune thrombocytopenic purpura, which shows the presence of antibodies against GP1B9 and GP2B3A receptors on platelets, which shows the presence of antibodies against these. Next point, so it has specific antiplatelet antibodies. So which hypersensitivity is it? 1, 2, 3, 4? It is type 2 hypersensitivity. Type 1 is asthma or allergy. It is not an allergic response. It is antibody mediated hypersensitivity. That is type 2 hypersensitivity. Next point, it is not the bacterial infections but the viral infections that predisposes to acute ITP. Next point, male predominant. Next, a 10-year-old girl with swelling of one knee joint, all can be seen in DDs except, देखो बच्चे, it was a girl. I know this was a slightly tricky question. Unilateral swelling of the knee joint can occur because of TB, rheumatoid arthritis, hemophilia, or bilionodular synovitis. Everything was okay. But because it is a girl, hemophilia is least likely, because hemophilia is an X-linked recessive disorder. It is seen in males. Least likely in a female child is an X-linked recessive disorder, that is hemophilia. Next point. Late onset hemorrhagic disease of the newborn. Hemorrhagic disease of the newborn occurs because of vitamin K deficiency. Its onset is at 4 to 12 weeks of age. It is associated with intracranial hemorrhage, and intramuscular vitamin K has a protective role. Options B, C, D were correct. By default, the answer is A. It is not seen in cow milk fed babies. On the other hand, cow milk, it is opposite bache. Cow milk has more vitamin K than breast milk. So early vitamin K deficiency might be associated with intake of breast milk. Next point. Coagulation profile with in a 13-year-old girl with menorrhagia shows von Willebrand disease. VWD, it is a fact, is associated with isolated elevation of PTTK. Isolated elevation means PT is normal, PTTK is elevated. Next point. Another test which is performed for von Willebrand disease is the RIPA test. Very, very important. RIPA. That is ristocetin induced platelet aggregation test. Ristocetin induced platelet aggregation test. RIPA test. RIPA test, which is a type of platelet aggregation test, which is a type of platelet aggregation test. In this, we expose the platelets to ADP, collagen, and ristocetin. We expose the platelets to ADP, collagen, and ristocetin and look for the response. If response to ADP is normal, collagen is normal, but to ristocetin is reduced or absent, which is the disease? Which is the disease associated? Of course, von Willebrand disease. Why? Because von Willebrand disease, the test used was RIPA. In von Willebrand disease, ristocetin induced platelet aggregation is abnormal. Which is the next disease in this case? BSS, Bernard-Sollier syndrome, BSS. Next point. Now think of it the other way around. Response to ADP is reduced, collagen is reduced, ristocetin is normal. This is the other way around. Disease associated Glanzmann's thromboasthenia. Disease associated Glanzmann's thromboasthenia. Glanzmann's thromboasthenia. These are platelet aggregation tests. Again, an important slide. Next point. Fanconi's anemia is a type of congenital or constitutional anemia. It is the same thing. Which are the other congenital anemias? Fanconi's anemia, Diamond-Blackfan syndrome, or dyskeratosis congenita. These are the common congenital. These are the common causes of congenital aplastic anemia. Common causes of congenital aplastic anemia: Fanconi's, Diamond-Blackfan syndrome, and dyskeratosis congenita. Next, this gets us to our next question. That is, a 49-year female with history of diabetes and hypertension, which has jaundice, which is progressive. Next point, there is mild hepatomegaly. Hemoglobin is low. Total bilirubin is slightly elevated. Blood smear shows the presence of acanthocytes. Blood smear shows acanthocytes. What is an acanthocyte? Acanthocytes. It shows the presence of spicules on RBCs. It shows spicules on RBCs which are of unequal size. It has spicules on RBCs which are of unequal size and are unequally spaced. That is an acanthocyte. And it is a RBC with Thorney projections. And this is what spicules on RBCs, unequal size, unequally spaced. This is what acanthocytes look like. So diagnosis, acanthocytes. Lastly, this gets us to a next question. That is, a 65-year male. On examination, there is lymphadenopathy, hepatosplenomegaly. Now, detailed evaluation reveals T cell ALL. This is a case of TALL. Calcium is increased. There is hypercalcemia, hypophosphatemia. Calcium is increased, phosphate is reduced. Parathyroid hormone, parathyroid hormone is reduced. Which is the most likely cause? Most likely causes secretion of parathyroid hormone related protein, PTHRP secretion. It was a malignancy associated with secretion of PTHRP. Done, bache. So before we wrap up our today's discussion, so in case you have any queries whatsoever, you can certainly join me at my Telegram group. Simply in Telegram, type Sushant Soni Pathology and my group name will come up. Next point, for those of you who are second years, third years interns, post interns, that is true for almost everybody. For the second years, whichever chapter you have read, you can revise it with me in the pathology crash course. For third year onwards, third years, interns, post interns, final years are the only students I'll excuse for this. The crash course will help you in a quick revision of pathology, and in this, I cater to the previous 3 year questions. This is NEET and the AIMS exam targeted. NEET and AIMS exams targeted, and I'll take care of the previous 3 year questions. We have already covered 3-4 chapters on this. It is a complimentary crash course for all. The schedule of the same is available on my Telegram group. And lastly, for the 10th edition Robbins updates, I'm planning to launch a 10-hour sessions of the same. We have covered 2 hours, that is lungs and GIT. These two topics we have already covered. We are in the process of doing this in subsequently as the weeks progress. Done, Pache. Needless to say, bestest of luck for the paper. Thank you.